Hey traders, Nick here looking at Palantir. It's a favorite stock, well, one of the favorites. I know ARK Invest likes it. They have like 24 million shares or so, probably as of September, last time I checked. Um, so this is where I leveraged somebody else's homework and then I did my own, and it looks pretty legit. As far as artificial intelligence is concerned, they have a good offering. So the stock is kind of wild, not through any fault of its own. Let's go to daily. About a year's worth of data. It got caught up in the Reddit debacle, which is it cuts both ways. I mean, it's good that it gets these, but it's bad that it gets these because it just ruins the natural flow of the actual price action, and it doesn't need Reddit to rally. It has actual fundamentals that it can build upon. Recently, you saw a headline where it got a big contract, maybe this pop, maybe that pop, I'm not sure, which adds about 25 to 27% to the top line if the contract plays out in a year. So they already run at about a billion four, 1.3, 1.4 billion last time I checked, as far as revenues, split between private sector and government. So it's got a good mix. The management sounds excellent. I don't know them personally, but every presentation I've seen from them is super slick, very confident. So buy the dip mode on this bad boy. So it matters. Then it becomes a matter of time frame. If I'm in it for the super long term, it's one of those that I can buy and hold. But that's not my style. I'd like to trade around the edges. Luckily, I've caught a lot of rips, and I've bought a lot of dips that ended up profitable. So I've yet to have a challenge that I couldn't overcome with this stock. The way I trade, I don't have to be perfect with timing, but I can tell you what not to do at certain points. So, like, it ran up to here. Of course, the chat room was abuzz with it. Nick, what do you think? Should we go? Should we not go? I said, well, you can go if you want to. But for me, I should admit that I missed it this time, at least to see it clear the last time it was here, and it failed. But they're looking here and they don't see it. They said, well, it just broke out. I was like, well, you need to expand a little bit further and to see that this is a pretty sharp area for a long time. So the bears are not going to let it go easily. And to call this a double top is just ridiculous. It's just another fail. And it came back to where? Support. And it's building its case back up. So dips are buyable. It's not encouraging that it went red on a day where the markets were green, but I think the small caps were lagging on Friday. Today is Sunday night, so tomorrow will be Monday, what is it, the 18th? Anyway, the week ending the 10/22. I would buy the dip. The way I do it is I sell put spreads or sell puts to own shares, so I don't need to be surgical with my entry as long as I know that the support is viable, so I can rely on support. So far, looks like they want to hold 22.5, 23. And that fails, then they're going to do the same around 20.5. So if I try to catch falling knife here by selling puts or put spreads down here, I'm going to be fine. I remember selling puts at 18 and 19. In fact, during this one of these slides, I sold an 18.5 or $19 put spread that paid 50% of the value of the spread on a day where price was nowhere near 50%, close to current price, close to my spread. So it should not have paid half the value. Somebody was panicking out of it, and they just paid me half. I was like, oh, wait, that filled? I wish it was bigger. So anyway, I couldn't replicate it. It just filled. That's how panicky this ticker is, which is ridiculous. So let me see. I can tell you that going into 25.2 and 25.8, there's going to be sellers. And if they pass through these, they become triggers to burst up a little higher. Repeat the process at 27.1. And of course, I have my orange line here. So if they gets above that prior fail, two of them, I think they'll have enough to break through these. So these are two very important failures. That's why I say when these happen, they take away these opportunities. So here, it should have failed or popped a little bit to create a normal rally, when instead of having it all go up to $1 million in 3 days and then puke it all back out and then some. So one leg at a time, right? So the first one is right here and right above it, and if they clear these two, then they get to here, and then if they clear that, they get to here. So now this is the external stuff you have to look at. Earnings here is not until late November. it looks like. We have Netflix reporting this week. So you've heard of the rotation, and when they say rotation these days, what they mean is out of the IWM, out of the small caps into tech, and they still call it value and tech, which is value and growth. It's pretty ridiculous. Value in the IWM is almost non-existent. That's all the stocks that are speculative. All the GMEs, the AMCs. There's no value in AMC. There's just hype. So to call it value, all the EV companies are in there. They have no income yet. So that name has to change. But nevertheless, they are rotating between small caps, IWM, RUT, into QQQ and NDX. So if the NASDAQ catches a bid, it might steal some bids away from these guys, the group. This one will trade with the small caps temporarily. And then if the NASDAQ's rally takes flight, this one will turn around and join. So I have support, I have resistance, and the range is super tight. I'm going to put back my lines and see how consistent I've been. So I have considered, recently I drew this box, and I said they're stuck in the box, chase the breakout from that box. And guess what? It broke above. They went to the moon, they came back. They should have held the end of the box. They didn't, but they're now back into the box. So what I'm going to do is just extend it and tell you it's still a valid area. If you noticed, I said 1, 2, that will bring the fight to here if they clear those two. And then repeat, rinse, repeat up here, and rinse, repeat up here. So the box is still valid. It's still significant. And the edges of it are not coincidental. These circles meant something for a long time. And I'm extending them, and they're right here towards the end of the box. So there is resistance above. It's not insurmountable. There is support below. It's not bulletproof, but it has backup. If I'm long the stock, I'm comfortable. If I want to get long, I can. Depends on my speed, depends on my time frame. If it's a long term, I don't even have to sweat a couple of bucks up or down. If it's short term, I can use the options to make it so I have a buffer. How can I do that? I can sell a put and buy a call that's out in time, add the money, and settle calls against it. There's hundreds of different ways I can do it. All depends on my level of expertise and my risk tolerance. I would never sell a put unless I want to own shares. That's for starters. Okay, I would never sell a call unless I own shares or I own a call against it, so it's a covered call. Okay, so fundamentals are great. Don't take my word for it. I'm not feeding you a lie unless they're lying to the SEC. This income statement is aggressive. So it goes from 600 to 750 to a billion to 1.3, and that doesn't include the contract that supposedly just won, which was, if I did the math correctly, air math at the time, was an increase of. It was like 750 million, something like that. Anyway, so it's a good sized bump. Whatever contract was, it was a good sized bump. And statistically, of course, it's not cheap. It shouldn't be. They are aggressively growing. You can't grow on a dime. So price to sales 34 is not cheap, but I've seen higher. But this is a problem that normalizes, meaning if they deliver the growth, that price to sales drops considerably. And that's the point. You overspend now in order to grow fast. So they're not profitable, clearly, because they're overspending in order to deliver the growth. So good company, good management, good price action, support below 2 levels, 3 levels, some resistance above, but each of them will be a trigger up. If the markets are higher in the future, this one is too. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment as much as you want. Just keep it clean. No need to insult anybody directly. I will comment right back.